Alright, so as promised, I'm doing another walk around video of my 2015 Kawasaki Versys 1000LT. The first one came out kind of shitty. I had some audio issues, and I'm doing a remake. That's a nice looking bike, isn't it? Forgive me, I have a cold, so my nose is running a little bit. I'll do this walk around and then I'll show you what comes stock and the things that I've had added since. Let me get my fingers out of the way here. Alright, so stock, you have the adjustable windscreen, which is really easy to change. You just turn these knobs and it goes up about, you can move it up about 2 inches and then lower it back down. I usually run with it in a down setting because when it's up, the wind it kind of comes in and hits me in the chin, makes my head bob around. So I run with it down. I'm thinking about replacing it with a Puig or whatever they're called. Eventually, they have one that goes a little bit higher. It's supposed to be a lot better. Also, comes standard with these Kawasaki handguards. They're a lot like bark busters, but for me, they work for me. I don't need to change anything on that. The other thing that comes standard is a center stand, which I was actually really surprised about that. You don't see too many bikes that come out with a center stand right off the bat. I know the Kawasaki KLR 650 I had to purchase that as an additional item. I live in Central Florida, and you see the size of the foot on the kickstand there. I can't, if I'm not in a parking lot, I need to put something down on the ground. Otherwise my bike's going to go over. And with the KLR, it was really bad because it had a long kickstand and the bike basically stood straight up and down. I'm getting a foot enlarger for this one here, but having that center stand is cool, definitely. Also standard are these side bags or panniers or whatever it is that they call them. They look pretty cool. They're color matched, of course. You can get a top case, which I did, to go with them, but that's of course extra. And these side cases are really easy to get off. You just insert the key, turn it, lift this lever up, and you can basically just take them right off one-handed. That's really about it for stock. What I've done since is I've added these pretty gnarly looking frame sliders. I've seen some that are much smaller and much more attractive, but when you come around here and you check out the whole front of the bike and how futuristic and space age it kind of looks, those things just add like a, I don't know, kind of like an Andromeda cyborg fucking they just look pretty gnarly as far as I'm concerned. And then of course I had the fog light, LED fog lights from Kawasaki that I ordered. Those things are amazing at night. I don't get to ride much at night, but they work awesome. I've also added this Corbin seat. The stock seat I found after about an hour of riding. I was starting to get pain in my tailbone, and you know, an hour and 15 minutes I had to stop and get off and take a little break. And the other thing is this bike has a lot of engine braking. So whenever I rolled off the throttle or let go of the throttle, I was sliding forward and rolling up on my boys, and that had to go. So I spent about 500 and something on a custom seat by Corbin, and I'm glad I did. I was a little concerned about the orange stitching and orange trim. I was afraid that it was going to be the wrong color for the bike, but I ordered it anyway, and I'm glad I did because it breaks the bike up really nice. And now, as a result, I can ride this thing all day long if I wanted to. 6-7 hours, no problem. No pain, no discomfort in my legs, my back, nothing. So I did get a top case. I don't have it on there right now because it's a little windy today, and getting out on a road, the bike kind of blows around a lot when you've got the top case on. As a matter of fact, in the book they tell you not to go over 70 miles an hour when you've got the panniers and a top case on, and believe me, you don't want to go over 70 miles an hour with them on. I've been out on the highway doing 75, and man, you know, if you get anywhere, even if you're not around a truck, you're still getting blown around a lot. But going around trucks or being behind trucks, even if you're 2 or 3 truck lengths behind them, it's blowing you all over the place. It's really dangerous. So I typically don't run with them unless I'm going to the store to get something. But to get the top case, of course, you've got to buy the case. You got to change out the stock, whatever you want to call that, the platform, to get that one on there. And then you also have to pay for the color match trim that goes on the top case too, which is an extra fee. Cool thing about this though is I love how this has got this beefy ass handle here on both sides for the passenger. So that's actually really cool. Let's see. Oh yeah, I got my two brothers SR, what is it, S1R? Yeah, S1R exhaust, and it's a slip-on. It's not the whole system. That's just the price for the whole system is crazy. But let's see. The cool thing about that is you don't have to get in and change all the air fuel mixture settings or anything. You don't have to touch that at all. You just bolt it on and go. So now I know there's a lot of guys out there that I know I was. My first bike just a few months ago was the KLR 650, and I was apprehensive about going to a liter bike because, you know, it's just a lot of freaking power. So the cool thing about this bike, you don't have to worry about jumping up to a liter bike. You don't have to worry about that, you know, oh my god, rip my arms out torque and power, or possibly flipping the bike over by dumping a clutch and pulling a wheelie or whatever. The cool thing is this thing has 2 power modes, full power and low power. I'm not gonna turn the bike on and show you all the, well, I will. I'm just, fuck. All right, you can kind of see it right there. It's showing full power right now, but I can change that over to low power. And low power, what that does is it basically reduces the power from 1000 cc's down to about a 750 cc motorcycle. And when you take that and you couple it with the Kawasaki traction control settings, you can set it on level 3, which is like for wet riding, or you can set it on 2, which is what I started out on. I started out on low 2. So I had a 750cc motorcycle basically, and traction control that prevented me from accidentally dumping a clutch and pulling a wheelie. Now, of course, I run on full power and setting 1, which is just very little traction control. But this thing is a Ninja, okay? It's a Ninja 1000 or Z1000 or whatever you want to call it. It's got the same engine. It's just tuned down just ever so slightly. I'm telling you, I mean, you could be in 6th gear and just gently roll on the throttle, doing 35 miles an hour in 6th gear, and the next thing you know, you're doing 90, 95, and it just goes. And it's very smooth. Shifting is smooth. Everything is smooth on it. There's no bogging down. I mean, like I said, I can do 35 in 6th gear and take right off, and it doesn't even, there's no feeling or sense of lugging at all on it. So this thing, you know, you see guys out there with the BMWs and the KTM Adventure, you know, 1190s and stuff like that. They say you can take them off-road. Well, they say you can take this off-road too. It's an adventure touring bike, they call it. No, you do not want to take this thing off-road at all. I mean, you'd have to change the tires, of course. You'd have to put something that had a little bit more knob on them, but you don't want to take this thing off the road, because again, this thing is a Ninja. It's a Ninja with touring comfort and features. That's it. It's a street bike. and it's a fast street bike. I love it. I mean, I hot dog it a little bit, but I'm almost 50 years old, so I'm not I'm not like one of these young guys racing around town that you roll your eyes over, you know. It's got more power than I'll ever need. I mean, if I ever go on a long tour, I could sit there and do 85, 90 all day long on this thing and be completely comfortable. It's just an amazing bike, and I love it. It was worth the money. As a matter of fact, I think it was a steal for the price, considering the prices of other bikes that are out there. The other thing I wanted to mention, you got your load setting. You can make it stiffer or softer depending on, you know, if you've got a passenger or if you got cargo or whatever. It's so easy to get to. You just sit back here, and even while you're sitting on it, you can just sit there and turn the knob. And of course, you got your rebound and dampening settings that you can change there. Everything on a computer is all you can change it while you're driving down the road. It's so easy, so simple. Could have cleaned it up a little bit before I brought it out. But anyway, that is my 2015 Kawasaki Versys, motherfucker. And she's a badass looking bitch. All right, now I'm gonna start her up. I'm gonna give you a little sound test. I'm not gonna be like these guys that you see that they change their exhaust and they go ahead and they start their motorcycles inside of a garage. I'm not gonna do that. I'm doing it out here in the real world, and I've got some people around, so I'm not gonna be a total dickhead. This whole time I've been doing this, I probably got ants inside my jacket over there. All right, so anyway, as you see, I'm gonna stand right here, and I'm not gonna rev it up too high, but so that was just up to about 7. And when you take this thing out on a road, I'm telling you, you know, I shift around like 4,000, 5,000 RPM. And if you go any higher than that, you are just screaming down the road. This thing is so fast. You know, you see these guys that run around, and they like on the 600s, the CBR 600s and stuff. They're always pushing that RPM all the way up to 10,000, 11,000, whatever, and they're just screaming. You don't want to do that on this, because you will be, you know, you'll be doing 120, 140 in no time. I think this can do almost 140. I think. I have no idea. 90's as fast as I've ever gone. So there she is, folks. Hopefully the audio is better this time. See you later.